We continue tonight with our series Capital City in Crisis. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us at 5:30. I'm Mark Zinni.
And I'm Denise DeCenzo. Chief Investigative Reporter Eric Parker has been looking at what could be ahead for Hartford if the city is forced into bankruptcy. Tonight, he has a look at what the suburbs could expect.
To find out what could be ahead for Hartford, the I-Team spent a few days in Detroit, Michigan, the largest U.S. city to ever file for Chapter 9 bankruptcy. And one of the things we heard over and over in that city is that the city itself may have had the financial struggle, but the entire region will be affected by what happens there. So while visiting Detroit, the I-Team also made a stop in one of the Motor City's wealthiest suburbs and found out they've benefited from having a stronger city next door. From the idyllic downtown bustling with shops and businesses to the tree-lined avenues and stately homes, Grosse Pointe could pass as a stand-in for any number of Hartford's charming suburbs. But this well-to-do community shares a border with the city of Detroit, a fact that was once its biggest drawback.
When people would come into town, they were concerned that they didn't want to be, have any of the crime issues, the fact that, half the lights, the city services, all of that. Detroit was in really pretty bad shape.
Kay Agnew has been a realtor in Grosse Pointe for more than 30 years, and to her, the housing market in her beloved suburb is the perfect way to take the temperature of Detroit's recovery. In 2008, housing prices here plunged by more than 40%, dragged down by the free-falling economy up the road in Detroit. Out-of-town transplants would only want to see homes to the north or west of the city, hoping to avoid the blight and other issues that accompanied Detroit's collapse.
It looked like a war zone. Many of the lights weren't working. Crime was high, and it was really dismal.
But today, things have turned. Grosse Pointe is the hottest market in Michigan. Young professionals clamoring for a neighborhood that gives them a short drive to downtown through what was one of Detroit's worst neighborhoods.
The bankruptcy for Detroit really was the beginning of everything turning around.
Agnew was leery of talking to the I-Team, worried we were here to talk only about Detroit's shortcomings. She ultimately agreed to meet with us because she felt the turnaround afforded by the courts was so good she had to share.
Back in 2008, we had probably over 800 houses for sale in the Grosse Pointe in all price ranges, and I think today we're like 190. So it's been a good shot in the arm for Grosse Pointe for sure. It was an opportunity for for Detroit to really build itself back up again. I think we're back.
Tomorrow, our series concludes with a look at another city that's been through bankruptcy but is much closer to home. The I-Team takes you to Central Falls, Rhode Island tomorrow, and a city that went through some very tough years but is now seeing a resurgence. With the I-Team, Eric Parker, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Eric, thank you very much. If you've missed any of Eric's stories this week, you can see the entire Capital City in Crisis I-Team investigation right now on the Channel 3 app.